Hey guys, welcome to the Massive Iron channel. I'm Steve Shaw. In this video, we're going to talk about Jeff Nippard and building the side delts.
Cable lateral raise is incredible because as long as you set the cable at around hand height, it'll provide maximum tension on the side delt while it's most stretched. That's because you get the highest tension whenever your arm and the cable form a 90-degree angle, and that's why they're going straight to S tier. In fact, I would say this is my favorite side delt exercise of all.
Before I get into this topic, if you guys need coaching, check out the link down below. Coaching is what I do for a living. All right. So on Team Massive, we have been discussing the tier list Jeff Nippard put out as far as training the shoulders. Now, there's a lot of exercises that Jeff Nippard talked about, but number one on his list I found very curious, and we're going to dive into that in this video because I completely disagree with him, and I think he's way off base, and I'm going to present my argument. As always, you guys can decide what's best for you, but Jeff was talking about the cable side lateral, and he listed it as his top of the heap exercise. Now, I'm not going to go into the reasons. You guys can go over and listen to Jeff's video, but what I'm going to present to you guys is my opinion on why I don't even feel it's even in the conversation. Now, I'm going to put a caveat. Obviously, there's no bad exercises. In the right context, any exercise can be a part of a quality program. One of the things I discuss here on the Massive Iron channel and in my world, the Massive Iron world, is instead of focusing or fixating on one single exercise, you want to focus on putting together a quality group of exercises for each body part. So when it comes to like training the delts, when it comes to training the chest, when it comes to training your quads or back, we want to look at a quality grouping of exercises rather than demonizing one exercise or elevating one exercise. We want to ask not what the best exercise is, but how can we put together the best quality selection of exercises to work a specific area. Now, with that said, the cable side lateral raise, one of my least favorite exercises, and let me explain why. A lot of cable systems are extremely limiting. If you go into the gym and you try to use a cable system, sometimes you might find an old system. It might feel ganky. The leverages might feel weird. This is a big reason as to why the cable side lateral raise isn't always the best choice. Even moving from like 10 to 20 pounds or 20 to 30 pounds, making on paper what is considered might be a small weight adjustment, it can completely destroy the lift. It can completely change the lift. You might be able to do 10 or 15 or whatever the number is on the cable side lateral raise. Now it's time for progression and you try to move up in weight and all of a sudden it feels impossible. A lot of times, and I've trained in many commercial gyms over the years, you'll go into a gym and you'll try to do like cable crossovers or even a cable side lateral raise, and the leverage field just feels really awkward. It might feel smooth out of the bottom and then kind of ganky or jerky as you're moving up. There's all kinds of possibilities when it comes to the leverage profile. Now, this doesn't obviously inherently mean that the cable station at your gym is going to be crap, but I find that in many cases, the cable stations are kind of not perfect for doing isolation exercises. I like doing cable tricep extensions. I like doing certain cable curl variations, but when it comes to more isolation exercises like cable crossovers or side lateral raises, I find that the leverage feel for these lifts can sometimes feel really ganky or awkward. Now, let's say at your gym you're doing cable side lateral raises and they feel absolutely amazing. You love the leverage profile, you love the lift. That's fair. But the question is this still a top tier lift? Is this still the best side delt builder? I'm going to bring another point into the conversation. There is such a limited progression opportunity when it comes to the cable side lateral raise or the side lateral raise in general. I'm not against using the side lateral raise. I use the side lateral raise. In fact, I came up with a variation called the bulldozer lateral raise that can allow for a little bit more progression. In general, the lateral raise is on the lower end of the scale when it comes to progressive overload. You're just not going to see somebody moving up from 15s or 20s to 40s or 50s on side lateral raises unless they're cheating the lift. In general, you're lucky to get to 30s or 35s. In my near 40 years of training on the side lateral raise, I think the most I've ever used was 35s. Right now, I use 30s, sometimes 35s. 40s would be a pretty big accomplishment, especially if you're not doing them cheating style. So it's not that we can't use an exercise like the lateral raise that has a limited progression opportunity. We can. It's a good kind of last tier exercise for your side delt program. And yes, I said that, a last tier exercise. It's not a big hitter. It doesn't have a big progression opportunity, and therefore elevating it as the best choice for side delts is extremely misguided. When it comes to training side delts, we can't suddenly forget progressive overload and make feel everything. Yes, I can get a good side delt feel from side lateral raises, but when you remove the element of progressive overload from the mix and all you're left with is feel, there is no way this lift can be elevated or listed as a top lift for your side delts. Now that's just for the side lateral raise. When you move that to a cable lateral raise, all of a sudden you have the issues with leverage profiles and the feel of the cable station. And the cable side lateral, in my opinion, takes a back seat to the seated side lateral and the standing side lateral. Now, my variation, the bulldozer lateral, you start with the weight on your opposite hip locked into position. You drive it up. So you get a little bit more leverage out of the gate, but you're able to progress a little bit more. You're able to get the side lateral raises up to 50s and 55s and 60s. And yes, you're starting from a little bit more leverage-friendly position, but this also feels a little bit better on the shoulder joints, and you can still get an absolute wonderful feel on the side delts. Now, just to end cap this discussion, we want to circle back on what is most important. When you are trying to target some area like the side delts, you want to put together a quality selection of exercises. We're not going to fixate on one. If you like the cable side lateral raise, go ahead and use it. But we want to put together a quality grouping of exercises to build the side delts. I encourage you guys to include a barbell overhead variation, a dumbbell overhead variation. Any of these can be standing or seated. For the dumbbell variation, you could even do the Arnold press. From there, you could do something for your third exercise, like a machine overhead press or an upright row or a high pull. And then finally, you could round out your delt training, your side delt training, with a side lateral variation. You could do the standing side laterals, the seated side laterals. You could do the cable side laterals, the machine side laterals, or even my variation, the bulldozer side laterals. All right, guys, thanks for watching. Have a great day.